All right, go ahead, Priscilla. So she's joining us from COPE, and we're very excited to have you here. And it is the communities organized to prepare for emergencies. I'm sure you may have seen them around town. I know I have a COPE organization in my neighborhood, and it's incredibly important for, as we all know, here in Northern Sonoma County. So Priscilla, I will let you take it away.
Great. Can you see my slides?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. Let me start from the beginning here. Oopsie. Sorry about that. I'm a little bit discombobulated here.
No problem. It's 8 in the
Um,
morning on a December morning, so I think we're all
yeah.
a little discombobulated this early.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let me try again here. Here we go. How about now?
Yep, that looks great.
Okay, great. So, good morning, you all. It is great to be here. So proud of our organization and how much we've grown over the years. I believe I did a presentation, 3 or 4 years ago when we were just getting started for the group. And so we have a lot to tell you about that's changed over the years. We have an engagement specialist now who's Kobe Lafayette, who's not able to be with us this morning, but hopefully will join us in a little bit for our discussion. And we have a very active volunteer board. So let's go ahead and get started and tell you what we're all about these days. So why develop a COPE program? So it's communities organized to be prepared for emergencies. What about this is so important to us? Well, of course, we know we face these. We have 4 major wildfires, right? And those really devastated and activated and it did a lot of things to get our communities woke up about how important it is for us to be prepared for fire. We also have a lot of other things that we have to worry about as well. We're going into flood season. I live on Fitch Mountain. We have a lot of flooding up here. And then we had a pandemic, right? We've had a lot of disasters that we've had to face, and a lot of times that we've needed to pull together as a community and with our partners in our fire agencies, et cetera, to be able to face these emergencies, these disasters that have come our ways. So COPE really provides a framework for us to become better prepared and to pull together. It supports individuals coming up with their plans for them and themselves and their families, but also for us as neighborhoods and communities to pull together and have plans for how to respond when these emergencies happen. And we also know that when these disasters happen, we oftentimes don't have our first responders to come to our rescue and help us because they're busy elsewhere. We learned that the hard way in the Tubbs fire, right? So we need to be able to make sure that we're self-reliant and that we can do the things that we need to do to be safe in our homes or outside of our homes, wherever we need to. If we need to evacuate, that's what we need to do. So that's really why we developed the COPE program here in Northern Sonoma County. This program has a history. It was developed in Santa Rosa and was very much adopted by Oakmont. And we just took the program and ran with it and made it ours here in Northern Sonoma County as well. So we're grateful to have a program that was already in place. I want to share with you just the 7 steps to starting a COPE program, because this really gives you an overview of what it means to decide, I want to have a COPE program in my area. What does it mean? What do I need to do to make this happen? This is a new video that we just developed, and I hope that you find it informative. It's very short. Yeah, let me just show it to you. Um, Jessica, can you give me a thumbs up? Make sure that I get video and everything's going well.
Yes, absolutely. The video is running. I don't hear anything.
Hold on just a second here. Let me try again here.
The mission of C.O.P.E is to help neighbors, families,
Sounds
and
good.
neighborhoods become and remain better prepared to respond to and recover from emergency situations.
Oh.
I think we may have lost the sound, but it is still running.
Well, this is an exciting morning, isn't it? Lots of
I have it up on
technical
YouTube. I can share my screen if you would like.
Why don't you do that? That'd be great. Thank you.
The mission of C.O.P.E is to help neighbors, families, and neighborhoods become and remain better prepared to respond to and recover from emergency situations. If there isn't a C.O.P.E community in your area, we can help you start one. It's easy. Step 1. Start by mapping your community and dividing it into neighborhoods. Take a map of your area and draw boundaries to define your community, and then break it down into neighborhoods that make sense to you. Every neighborhood is unique and has its own challenges. Step 2, build your community and neighborhood leadership team. Once you know which homes are within your map, reach out to neighbors and build your C.O.P.E group. Step 3, survey your neighbors in your neighborhoods and record information about each home. You'll be collecting vital information like who has pets, a disability, safety equipment. Step 4, meet with neighbors, C.O.P.E leaders, and emergency personnel and create a communication plan. You'll get to know the actual people whose job it is to help you stay safe in an emergency. Step 5, assess community risks, identify priority projects, and develop a plan of action. Talk together about your concerns, your hopes, and how to be better prepared together. Develop an action plan. Step 6, educate leaders and neighbors in emergency preparedness for all types of disasters. C.O.P.E offers meetings and classes to keep you learning how to stay better prepared for emergencies and newsletters to keep you updated seasonally. And step 7, maintain relationships with neighbors, leaders, and fire agencies and update surveys, plans, and kits. Stay connected, stay prepared. Why start your own C.O.P.E team? C.O.P.E encourages communities to come together and be better prepared. It supports development of individual, neighborhood, and community preparedness plans. It's endorsed by fire departments, law enforcement, and county government. C.O.P.E enables neighbors to be self-reliant when first responders are busy elsewhere. And C.O.P.E disseminates preparedness information and promotes communication among neighbors. We can help you start. Contact C.O.P.E for a free handbook and guidance on setting up your team.
Great. Thank you for that, Jessica. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Don't you love technological, problems first thing in the morning? My goodness, my adrenaline is going. All right, let me try to share my screen here again and just go through a couple more slides about who we are, and then we'll have a nice discussion. I look forward to talking more about what we're up to here. So here we go. So as I said, our mission really has to do with making sure that everyone in our community is prepared, and we're really making an effort to dig deeper into our communities and reach our folks that are the most vulnerable, folks who may be homebound, some of our elders, some of our folks with disabilities, Spanish speakers, other folks that
we may not be currently reaching. So we can only do that by leveraging our partnerships with nonprofits. I'm thinking of Corazon in Healdsburg and other groups that are doing the work in the communities and can help us make sure that we reach people in a culturally appropriate way. So we're really looking forward to that work in coming up in our future. I wanted to introduce you to our board because we have a fantastic board of people with a lot of expertise and a lot of life experience that lends to our organization, making us successful in what we do. So our vice chair is Marianne McBride, who is the CEO of the Council on Aging. And next to her in this picture, you can see Donna Schaefer, who is a gerontologist. So we're super lucky to have people with really some very nice expertise in working with older adults. So we've been working hard on educating our leaders and trying to develop programs that specifically reach our older adults. You may recognize Nancy Brown from the Department of Emergency Management for the county and Chief Turbeville. So those are just a few examples of the types of folks that we have on our board. Again, very much a working board. So we're really here to help our community by helping folks become better educated and ready to jump into action when we need to during an emergency, but most importantly, being prepared for when those emergencies happen. We're so lucky to work with folks like Chief Boaz and McDonald that are both, I noticed here this morning, which I'm just honored that they came to be with us this morning. We work with fantastic folks, with CAL FIRE, with our law enforcement agencies as well. We could not do this work without our partnerships with these organizations, these amazing individuals as well. That are working with these agencies that are willing to work with a community-based organization like ours. We're just really honored. So the C.O.P.E program really is based on having community leaders that represent a community. So let me give you a quick example. I'll just use Fitch Mountain since I'm a Fitch Mountaineer. So we have 2 community leaders for the community of Fitch Mountain, and then we have 18 neighborhood leaders. So we broke our community of Fitch Mountain into smaller neighborhoods, and we have leaders that represent those smaller neighborhoods, and then they represent their neighbors in those smaller neighborhoods, which are about 10 to 20 people. So that's how the program works, really, is the community leaders represent that specific geographic area, and then there are a number of leaders within that framework for that community. We have done a lot of work over the last year in developing leader support materials. We now have a C.O.P.E handbook, which takes people through the 7 steps and gives lots of resources to people, things from meeting agendas and sign-in sheets to C.O.P.E badges to resources for action items in communities and ways to assess communities for risk, etc. We also have a disaster knowledge digest that Nancy Brown helped us. Dr. Brown has background again in preparedness. So she gave us a lot of great resources around what our C.O.P.E leaders should know about preparedness so that they are knowledgeable in their communities and can pass that information on to their neighborhood leaders. We also came together and put together a C.O.P.E leader toolkit. And this is a booklet that is really focused on engagement, because what we heard from our leaders was it's really hard for us to reach out to our neighbors and build a leadership team. So we wanted to give them tools to help them do that. And that's what that's all about. We do meet monthly with our leaders and with our partners. We all come together and work on various issues, do education, and problem solve. What are the issues that are coming up for you right now in your area, and how can we help you address that? We have a lot of best practices templates for things like communication, for using GMRS radios, for putting up fire awareness sign in your area, those kinds of things. We do educational webinars. We just had a webinar on home hardening and using the Maui miracle houses, people are calling it, as an example of what did we learn from that disaster in Maui that can help us better be prepared here. And then, of course, we have all of our videos and meetings on our YouTube channel. There's Chief Boaz right there, and with Chief Collister. So yes, we do work on evacuation preparedness. We've done some work with the sheriff and local law enforcement. We did an evacuation drill in Mill Creek just right before they had the Walbridge fire there. And we did one on Fitch Mountain as well. It's thought that the work that Mill Creek did before the Walbridge was really instrumental in them being getting all their folks out after before that fire hit that area and everyone being safe. We do community-based education. I think that says for itself. We do work with our senior centers and other groups, as well as just our COPE communities, and at least having one annual meeting pulling people together. We have developed a smoke ready program and developed distributed air purifiers, especially to our Latinx and seniors in our communities. Corazon was part of that. As well as you can see our Healdsburg Fire Department helped me that day of getting all of our air purifiers out and ready to distribute to the community. We have gotten a fair number of fuels mitigation grants, and we're super proud of and happy that we could get money so that our COPE communities could be safer. We've done fuels mitigation in we've done work on roadside vegetation, as well as building shaded fuel breaks and those kinds of things in our communities, and really feel that our COPE leaders have been a great ambassadors to our communities and helping our communities understand how important the vegetation work is, and being able to secure landowner permission because of that relationship and that education that our COPE community leaders have been able to provide. We have done debriefing after fires. This is the Kincaid that was just across the river from us here on Fitch Mountain. And we were, lucky to have 100 folks join us at the villa after that fire, along with our law enforcement and again, our fire officials and everybody in the room debriefing to the community members and all of our first responders, having an opportunity to talk about what we learned from that fire and to talk through what that experience was like as well. We've been honored to, recognize Chief Turbeville. We've been honored as an organization as well from the county and elsewhere. We're just really proud of the work that we're able to do in our community. We are on social media and encourage you to take a look at us on YouTube and join us on Facebook. We are getting information out to our communities all the time. So, and then if you are interested in being a part of COPE, we have a information meeting on the third Tuesday of every month online. So you are welcome to join us there, and we'll get you on board. So I will stop sharing slides there and come back for any discussion questions people might have.
If anybody has any questions, please go ahead and hop in. You can raise your hand, or if you want to add something to the chat. Or if anything comes up later, I'd be happy to forward your questions over to Priscilla and the team at COPE.
I have a question. This is Ariel. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I wonder if you can talk. Hi, good morning. If you can talk a little bit about where COPE groups exist in our community and where you see holes in in the region where there isn't COPE, where if you had a magic wand, you'd love to see them get started?
Great question. Thanks, Ariel. We are, so it's spotty. We have about 50 COPE communities now. So that's the good news. I think that our work, as I said at the beginning, really is digging deeper to not only starting new COPE programs, I think, Ariel, and getting new communities going, but digging deeper into the communities that already exist to make sure that we're reaching our Spanish speakers, that we're reaching our elders that may be homebound, and other folks that we're not currently reaching. Also, I think that there, all throughout northern Sonoma County, there are pockets of places that are greatly at risk that we have not yet gotten communities going. And I think that's really our goal in the next year, is to start reaching out and trying to find ways to bring those communities together. I hope that helps.
Do you have lead volunteers in each of those areas that you already have them set up? So you would be looking for the same thing in the pockets that you don't have them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, yes and no. So we really rely on, we go to homeowners associations, community organizations. I mean, our group in France Valley really started with a mom's group, a mother's group that was over there. You know, so those, any established groups can be a great way to get people going. We're thinking, Ariel, with the with Corazon using the promotoras as a way to reach some of our Latinx folks that we have not reached yet. So there are creative ways of doing this. And now that we have C.O.P.E on board, we hopefully will have ways, we'll have a little bit more person power to reach out to some of those groups.
I can just hop in for personal experience. We have a group here in my neighborhood, and Chris can attest as well. And it's great having that one neighborhood leader too, who's just getting everyone together and has helped schedule different Zoom meetings. And it's very helpful and makes us feel better being out here. So
good. Glad to hear it. Yeah, so when I think about Healdsburg and I think about, here I am at the Chamber of Commerce, and what does it mean to folks that may be on this call today? I think of, could the C.O.P.E model be used for businesses downtown? I mean, isn't it one big community? Why not break it into neighborhoods and have the businesses be C.O.P.E groups? And the folks who work there have communication with each other so that they know an emergency that they can cover for each other in their businesses. I'm sure there's some informal work like that going on already. So how can we formalize it and support that happening? Do we know that all the businesses are already prepared? Do they have plans in each of their businesses that protect their employees and their customers and all of that? There is work that's done in the county to support that as well. There are some materials available. So there are ways that we can take this model and use it in the business community as well, I think.
amazing. I think Teresa just added something into the chat. I don't know, Teresa, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself. And
absolutely. Good morning, Teresa Mangiapane. I'm the publisher for Healdsburg Living Magazine, and just would love to chat with you about how we could feature you and your organization in our publication. I think it would be great to reach the seniors and possibly even volunteers.
Great. Thank you so much. That would be lovely. Would be
absolutely
much appreciated.
Hi there, this is Lance from Healdsburg Fire. I wonder if I can chime in real quick.
of course, please go for it.
First of all, I just wanted to say thanks to Priscilla, Pat, and the entire organization. It's been just amazing for us to work with, and we really rely on them as a resource. We refer the C.O.P.E, both the website and individuals, for people that a lot of people move into town and they're nervous about our big bad fires and they're not sure what to do. And C.O.P.E's just been instrumental in helping to organize those people, help them to get prepared. The first slide of Priscilla's thing on the side of it said neighbors helping neighbors, and that's their kind of their tagline, their theme of COPE, and it couldn't be more important. And this did come because of the Tubbs fire, where we found that it really did take neighbors helping neighbors in many cases to save people's lives. And so they've really taken that sentiment and make that message and organized it, and have done just a phenomenal job in getting communities together. As the fire marshal in town, I'll often get to deal with neighborhood complaints. Maybe this neighbor has got a tree that's hanging over my house or whatever it is. And COPE really helps bridge the gap of we understand that that's an issue, but here's when it's safe and here's when it's not safe. And maybe here's how to start a dialogue. So I just thought I wanted to chime in really quickly here and just say thanks to COPE. They've been a great partner for us, and we look forward to continuing to grow that relationship. And I'm personally lucky that my predecessor was really involved and helped establish a relationship. But they're an awesome organization. If you live in Sonoma County, you should be part of a COPE. That's what I would say. So just wanted to quickly say that.
Thanks, Lance. That was very sweet. Thanks, Chief McDonald.
Well, so if there's no other questions today, I would like to thank Priscilla so much for taking the time and hopping in and giving us this very informative and important presentation. And I hope you're able to stay for the remainder of our presentation today.
Thanks so much. And shout out to Elizabeth Holmes, who I believe is on your board, who we're lucky to have working with us as well. We're really, again, we're really lucky to have such great folks to work with and have a part of our organization, as well as you heard from Lance. We have great relationships with our fire officials, and we're so grateful for that. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Priscilla.
Yeah, thank you. This is Jason Boaz, Fire Chief. I just wanted to say thanks again for doing this, and glad to be here. And I appreciate the presentation, Priscilla, and I appreciate you guys continuing to push this forward. I know we've had a quiet fire season this year and fairly quiet last year. My fear is that things are going to start dwindling and people are going to start paying less attention to this. So I appreciate you continuing to do things like this to push the message out there, and we will be here to support you in any way possible.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, I think it's time for us to pass it over to Mayor Ariel Kelly. Thank you for joining us this morning, and I'm excited to hear your update from the city.
Thank you, Jessica. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. So we have some fun stuff to report out on from the city, and some big news coming up in the future. So many folks, a few thousand folks joined us in the plaza last Friday night for the Merry Healdsburg event. And I just wanted to say thank you again to the Chamber and Stay Healdsburg for your partnership on that event. It's truly not possible without you, so thank you. And we also had our annual Senior Appreciation Dinner on Sunday that the Senior Center puts on in partnership with amazing community volunteers, and we had a packed house, and it was a beautiful event for so many seniors in our community. And in terms of city council updates, we've had a couple big meetings recently. We did complete our cannabis dispensary selection process, which was about an 18-month process, maybe even longer from start to finish, where we have selected 2 operators who will be moving forward to permitting and opening up their businesses in Healdsburg. Those 2 businesses are Soulful. You may know of them from Sebastopol or near Montgomery Village in Santa Rosa. They will be operating at the site that is now currently Enzo Wealth Management on Healdsburg Avenue, next to Pearls of Joy and the bank and Goodwill, that kind of end of downtown right there, and in the old Victorian looking building. And then the other is called Jane, and they are going to be operating down at the near Coyote Sonoma and in the parking lot where Elephant in the Room is, in the very far back corner, tucked away past Coyote Sonoma. Jane also has a dispensary in Santa Rosa. So, and we probably received about, I don't know, 500 emails, maybe more, from folks in the community who really were advocating strong for one of the other or those businesses. I think we had some really great applications, and a good problem to have when you really have work for a lot of different folks. So we also, at our last council meeting, had our annual or an event policy update, where we're now taking all of the city events and putting them together in a package where we're looking at all of the events for 2024 and selecting, which ones are moving forward. What does the city partnership look like with those events? We had to update the plaza use policy to become, more in line with what the state allows in terms of how you are able to differentiate who gets to use different parts of the city. And so that was a great meeting, and now we actually have an annual event calendar that shows all of the city's sponsored events or partner events that are going to be happening. It's probably not an exclusive list, but it's a really good one to look to, especially for businesses or organizations who publish about upcoming events. That will be a good solid list of what's happening in 2024, and some really great community celebrations coming up. And then we also had a presentation from the Bay Area Housing Finance Authority last month, BAFA, and they are putting a housing bond measure, regional housing bond, I believe, on the November 2024 ballot. And that bond measure will generate, millions and millions of dollars for affordable housing in our region. And so we received that presentation, and we'll be having them come back probably in the early part of next year to talk about the funding formula and how those dollars will be allocated to cities for building more affordable housing. But that, in principle, it will be a total game changer for our region to be able to have access to very large pots of money to get some of those affordable housing projects built. And then coming up, we have an update on the city's recycled water pipeline program. So many years ago, the city started a conversation about building a purple pipe from our recycled water treatment facility back to town, where we could tap into that recycled water to use for irrigation for city parks and facilities. So with help from the state, we received a pretty sizable grant to move forward with that project. It's not fully funded, but it's funded enough that we're going to be able to start planning and implementing it pretty in short order. So that'll be coming up at an upcoming council meeting. And we also went out to bid for the Foley Family Pavilion. So that is at 3 North Street, the old Cherry or Purity Products building across from where the farmers market takes place and near City Hall. We went out for bids. We received a number of responses from contractors who want to do the project, and we will be moving forward with awarding that construction contract, hopefully at the next meeting, or if not, then the first meeting in January. And then we'll be breaking ground soon thereafter, which is very exciting because I know this project has been a long time coming for the city, and it wouldn't be possible without the $7 million donation from the Foley family to make it happen. So really exciting times to see that project taking place. And then also looping back to our events discussion, a number of events that are currently taking place on the plaza or downtown will be able to move to that pavilion, and it really being kind of a hub for community gatherings, in addition to the farmers market, which will be moving there as well. And then we also will be receiving a presentation on the upcoming fire sales tax measure. So in March, on the March 5th ballot, which is right around the corner, there will be a 0.5-cent sales tax proposed countywide for all of Sonoma County, which will generate about $60 million a year for fire service, both prevention, staffing, and equipment and resources for the whole region. And so we'll be receiving a presentation on that measure and potentially taking a position support or against. And then we also have the upcoming decision. And I'd say this is probably the biggest one where we would love the chamber's engagement and support, and also having more engagement from our business owners in the community. And that's the decision on where to place the smart station, or the smart platform, as it may be. So we have 2 locations that we've honed in on. One is next to the historic depot site, and the other is downtown next to the West Plaza parking lot where the farmers market currently takes place. So that decision, we're waiting on some more detailed design and drawings from SMART so that we can have a more informed discussion about the look and feel. But really, there's no buildings involved. It's a concrete pad, a platform that you would walk out on and hop on the train with a ticket kiosk machine. So really looking forward to getting to that decision point so that we can then tell SMART where we want them to go to, and they can start designing the pathway forward. So I think with that, that's probably enough from me, and I'll turn it back over to you, Jessica, and of course, happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
We have a quick question on that, Ariel. We just wanted to make sure, Mayor, who essentially ultimately decides where the SMART train goes? Just because we've been talking with them already, and we're just a little bit confused on who actually gets to make that decision ultimately.
Yeah, so the city council will be deciding where the platform will be located.
Okay.
And SMART has been, very supportive of providing us all the information that we need, but they really want it to be a local government decision.
Okay.
So putting it in the hands of the council to decide.
Okay, great. Then I just want to make sure we have the right partnerships in place and get all the information evaluated by our teams and the members.
Are there any other questions for Mayor Kelly before we go over to City Manager Kay? All right, well, thank you so much, Mayor, and really appreciate the update and looking forward to the next few City Council meetings.
Absolutely. I'll just have one more quick one for you is that we've been talking about Enzo Senior Living for a very long time. We had a great presentation from them a couple meetings ago, or the last meeting at Good Morning Healdsburg. And I did want to share that residents have started moving in, and we have scheduled a ribbon cutting at Enzo for upcoming in the spring when everybody is fully in and they're done with their construction, at least on that parcel as they start building the hotel next door. But really excited to see that coming to fruition and, seniors having this new amazing.
Thank you so much. All right, we will go over to City Manager Jeff Kay then.
Thanks, Jessica. I don't have too much to add. Well, first off, good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Not too much to add. The mayor gave a good update of a lot of things going on right now. I'll just echo our appreciation to the chamber and City of Healdsburg for supporting the event last Friday. I know it was a lot of work. It was a little bit of drizzle, but otherwise it was dynamite. There were just a lot of happy people out there and it ran really well. So thanks for your partnership on that. It's a neat time of year with a lot of cool community events, which are a nice break from some of the more mundane work we do. On that note, on the mundane note, I'll just add one more thing, which is we're heading into budget season. As some of you know, we do a 2-year budget. So every other year we do a comprehensive budget, and then in those in-between years we do a more modest update. So this is the big budget coming up. That won't be adopted until the end of our fiscal year, which is in June, but it's a massive process and it starts pretty much now. And you'll start seeing more outreach on that in January. And probably quite a bit of it. I would encourage people, I know it can be technical and it can be boring, but I'd encourage people to at least pay a little bit of attention, particularly if there's something you want the city council to be funding. The sooner the better, and the more organized you are, the better. We'll be fine financially, but I will, and this shouldn't be a huge surprise to anybody on this group, I don't think, but TOT, our hotel tax is down probably about 8% from where it was. That's albeit coming off of a really good year last year, but nevertheless, that's our biggest revenue source and it's down a little bit. So that's something we have to work through. And sales tax is also one of the big three for us, and that's dipped, not nearly as much, but it has dipped ever so slightly. So we'll be okay. I'm not expecting any kind of major, really any cuts necessarily, but we won't have as much money to invest in one-off projects or capital infrastructure as we might like to. So that's government budgeting for you. We're just gonna have to make some decisions about how to invest limited resources for maximum benefit, and we'll do that and it'll be fine. But unfortunately, it will be just a little bit more challenging than it was 2 years ago. So it can be boring, but I do encourage you all to pay a little bit of attention to that because it really matters. And once it's done for 2 years, it's not so easy to change. Beyond that, I'll just wish everybody a happy holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Is the city going to publish the budgeting tool the way they did at the last budget so that people can weigh in?
Absolutely. We are going to do, as some, I hope most of you recall, we did a tool called the Balancing Act 2 years ago in our budget where it was pretty detailed and people could go in there and really push a lot of levers and toggles and show different priorities for the budget. It was a great experience overall for us. It was a ton of data. It was absolutely used to inform the final product. I think it was also a little bit confusing for people. We tried to we didn't want to dumb it down and we didn't dumb it down. But I think for some people it was a little confusing. So we are refining that tool right now. And the thinking right now is we may have kind of a short version and a long version, and people can choose how much they want to wade into the mud with us. But there will definitely be a pretty robust community outreach process, and it will include a similar tool. So be on the lookout for that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions for city manager? All right. Well, thank you so much, Jeff, and everybody who joined us this morning for our last Good Morning Healdsburg of the year. We are going to be working on the schedule for next year and speakers. So if you have any ideas or if you have any requests of who to see up here, please send them our way. And we really appreciate it. And thank you for another great year. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Everybody.
Bye, thank you.